are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee and hot.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with the Dog. You make me laugh.
Probably not. There's nothing funny. Nothing funny to laugh at. All right, guys. I don't know. You're rocking out over there. Rock, rockety, rock out. All right, I get it. Yeah, we get it. Oh, good morning, my friends. It is Friday, September 1st. August is gone. Summer is kind of gone. And I'm here with you unexpectedly. An unscheduled show. It's going to take the day off. But you know what happened? Tony Walker, I don't know why he does it. He promos the show, even though there's nothing in the bucket. So he goes to my YouTube channel to see what's scheduled. And if there's nothing scheduled, he makes up a graphic. So he promoted the show, so I figured I have to do it. Generally, if there's nothing in the bucket, it means I'm not going to do a show. I wasn't planning on doing a show. I don't want to do a show. But I'm here doing the show. Anyway, if you can call it a show. Big things going on with Spectrum, and I'm guessing Spectrum is a cable company or some kind of television provider, television and internet service provider. But I noticed Twitter was on fire about it last night because Spectrum cannot reach a deal with Disney on the price of the package, so all of Disney's content is now not on Spectrum. Terrible, awful. I mean, can't live without Disney. What kind of world have we become? Well, to be fair, ESPN and ESPN2 and all those things are part of Disney, and that's what some people are freaking out about. But what's on ESPN anyway? Listen, man, the tube is poison. It's you're strung out. You're like a junkie. Anyway, I'm not. I don't even. I've never seen Spectrum. I'm assuming it's a television thing. I know it's a television thing, but I don't know if it's cable or it's a dish service or what the hell it is. But people are upset about it. So we're not on Spectrum. We've never been on Spectrum. But just as a show of solidarity with all the people freaking out, I won't put my stuff on Spectrum. How about that? They won't nab me anyway. But that's beside the point. It's a gesture of solidarity with those freaking out about their Spectrum being stuck up their rectum. I just being autism is a spectrum. I'm on the autism spectrum. Good morning, Ian. Ian's up early. It's Friday morning. I have too many gigs to be here just talking to a microphone. GD Fenderson might be joining me if he gets my email. He has created critical joke theory, which seems like I misunderstood. I thought he was going to be sending me a video. Seems like he might be doing it live if and when he joins the program. later today. I did send him a link or later this morning. I'm not going to be here all day. If you are so inclined, Carl Mann, the man of Carlness, did a show yesterday with Billy Wayne Davis and some other dude named Mike. I guess he's a comedian working with Billy. Um, anyway, good morning, Bean. What is this? She's on the spectrum. Uh, most most of the GD's in the GD. We are expecting you in, so at your leisure. But I'm not going to be here all morning. So it looks like you're doing the thing live. I was confused. I thought you were sending me a video, but that anyway is fine. Anyway is good. Anyway is lovely. Um, Bean says she's on the spectrum. I think we're all on the spectrum. Happy Friday. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm on the spectrum. I don't feel like I'm on anything. I feel like I'm on a broken chair. I think my fat ass broke the chair. Anyway, um, it's interesting to me about this whole spectrum thing. There's a lot of things that are interesting. Yesterday, Dwight Little, who was a very accomplished film director, who I have now begged to be in his next movie, and it seems like he might have a small part for me in a movie. How about that? See, the trick is to get yourself a podcast, get these influential guests on, and then beg them to give you opportunities. This is what I'm finding out. Beg, get grovel, um, plead. So I'm going to be in a movie. And I did mention yesterday I was in the movie Car Wash. Uh, Cheech and Chong, I believe, were in that movie. I also believe George Carlin. I know George Carlin was in the movie, and Richard Pryor, and the movie sucked and did nothing. But I'm in that movie. They didn't intend to have me in that movie. I kind of uh, what do you call it? Photobombed myself into the movie. I'm a little slow this morning. I photobombed myself into the movie. I was living across the street from the car wash where they were filming the movie Car Wash. And they were filming it every day there for months. It had to be 2 months they were out there filming. And every day I would get out of my welfare hotel room that I was living in. It was $27 a week, and I was splitting that. So I was living on $13 a week rent in the Hotel Cameo, which was across the street from the Hotel Californian, which was a welfare hotel. And so every day I would get out and just walk past the car wash both ways. I walk on both sides of the street, keep crossing the street, going back and forth, walking around all day, hoping to get caught by one of the movie cameras. And eventually, I did, because when the movie came out, I was in a hurry to see myself in the movie. And there is 1 second. I should know the time code. There is like not even 1 second. There's a split second where I am in the movie. I'm definitely in the movie. Because I had a very distinctive look in those days. It was 77, 78, something like that. 78, somewhere around that time. Might have even been 76. But I used to wear this army coat that I got from a guy who was a friend of my brother's, who came back from Vietnam and then became a total junkie and had to sell everything he had. And I bought this coat from him. Frank Tamburillo, I think was his name, and it had the Tamburillo patch on it. But you see me with my classic long black hair and a U.S. Army jacket, walking just for a brief second. That's my claim to being in the movies. Now I do have an IMDb, Internet Movie Database. Yeah, IMDb page for my work in Off the Cuff Cooking with Craig Mitchell. He set that up. But other than that, I really, really just want to be in a movie, not not to act, just to say, see, I'm in a movie. Um, and I did a lot of that in those days, trying to be in movies, trying to be on television and all that stuff. But we were talking about the writer's strike and how this is bad timing. Well, bad timing all around, right? Um, because I said yesterday, and I've said this a couple of times, strikes don't get settled without consumer demand for the product. And right now, there doesn't seem to be a lot of consumer demand for actors and writers to get back to work. They're fine with whatever crap is still running, reruns, reality TV stuff. Sports doesn't take writers or actors. It's funny that those announcers aren't part of Screen Actors Guild, but um, so there's not a lot of demand. And I guess Spectrum's one of the bigger ones. Spectrum and Erectum are both very big. Uh, but so taking more content away, does that increase demand, lower demand? I don't know. Does it change the prospect of the strike getting settled? I just think perhaps the writers and actors were not prepared for the audience in general saying, "We don't care, we don't care," and that could go on for a long, long time. I remember writer strikes lasting a long time. I think in the 80s. But you know what? Things are different now. People can get content lots of places, and it's confusing because internet stuff seems to be immune to the strike. You're not a scab if you're doing it on the internet, which is kind of unusual, right? Because you're still working, you're still feeding the consumer demand for content, whether it's scripted or not. Why isn't wrestling on strike? Because that's scripted, and they need writers for that. I guess they're not part of the guild. Anyway, there goes Jordan. Jordan Peterson's here. I just want to start crying about the writer strike for a minute. I don't like when Jordan just bursts into my show uninvited. Um, but anyway, so I'd love to know your thoughts about the writer strike. Do you give a shit about the writer strike? Do you care? Is it going to end soon? Are you missing any of your shows? Any of that kind of stuff? Let me know. Um, what do we got here? Oh, we got a chat room full of fucking people over here. Oh my god. Uh, Ethan says autism on the spectrum. Bean says we're all on the spectrum. GD, who is going to be with us in a moment. All comedians that I know are on the spectrum. Nobody's talking about rectum. They're all talking about spectrum. Good morning and hope your birthday was wonderful. William says, yeah, my birthday was saying thank you to people wishing me a happy birthday on social media. That's what I did all day on my birthday. But thank you for the for the birthday. That's what we do now. You should plan on your next birthday, spending your entire day saying thank you to people who wish you a happy birthday on. Probably, definitely on the spectrum. Well, what is it? Is it probably or definitely? Or you're definitely, probably, definitely, probably, definitely. See, now if you say probably, definitely, that's an indication that you're on the spectrum or on the rectum. Only difference is my bro has actual papers saying he's autistic. Well, actual papers as opposed to non-actual papers. See, you're on the spectrum. Uh, and you have no Disney because of it. Uh, Kelly says hello to Will. I think there's something going on there. Working at the car wash. At the car wash. Uh, what up, coolest of all cool kids? I guess that's to Kelly, not to me. I thought I was the coolest of all kids. Oh, come on. These private. Eminem, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and Car Wash movie. No, 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 no. That's probably a remake. They weren't even. I don't even think Eminem was alive when they filmed the Car Wash that I'm in. Um, anyway, so I'm interested in that. Now, one other story that caught my eye this morning. I wanted to talk about is Popular Science has a story out today, an ancestral bottleneck. Ancestral bottleneck. You know what an ancestral bottleneck is? It's when people stop fucking. An ancestral bottleneck took out nearly 99% of the human population 800,000 years ago. People stopped fucking. It was too cold to fuck, basically, is what the uh, the story is. It's a team of scientists from the United States, Italy, China may have finally explained a large gap in the African and Eurasian fossil record, according to the model in a study published August 31st, that's yesterday, in the Journal of Science. The population of human ancestors crashed between 800,000 and 900,000 years ago. I guess they're saying the Bible was wrong. I thought we were only around for 6,000 years. They estimate that there were only 1,280 breeding individuals alive. Breeding. 1,280 people fucking at that time. So that's six. If you split it down the middle, it's 640 men and women each. Individuals were alive during this transition. The early and middle Pleistocene. Why do you need that word? Why do you need that word? About 98.7% of the ancestral population was lost at the beginning of this ancestral bottleneck that lasted roughly 117,000 years, according to the study. People went 117,000 years with minimal fucking. I know Kelly just got really depressed hearing that. But it's surprising. I mean, I don't care how cold it is. You're gonna fuck, right? But obviously, the saying climate was very cold, covered with ice sheets. This is around the time that humans started to make their way to the Americas. Now, I don't know what I was thinking before, but I was thinking this is probably the time where racism started to happen. Well, during the comeback, where people started fucking again, because we all know that, well, those of us who believe in science and evolution, and that life began on the continent of Africa and spread out of that, so we were all one people until this started happening, and then there was a divide between African and Eurasian fossils, and the decline in that. Now, some people might say, well, how many of those 1,280 people were Asian? How many of them were African? How many were Asian, Eurasian? And, because it seems to me, well, I'm not a scientist. I'm not going to get involved in a conjecture here. But it seems to me that would be the boiling pot for where the boiling pot. Why is it a boiling pot? It's not a boiling pot. It's a boiling point. For when racial division might start, because when things go bad, humans tend to blame people, and as life left Africa and went into Europe, and that's when it started getting cold. Maybe I'm just saying maybe. It's a lot. I'm saying maybe 3 or 4 times to 5 times. People started to blame each other, and it was not bright enough to blame it on the cold, or that maybe we should fuck more. I got a simple solution. As president, I would like to see everybody fuck some more. Fuck more. That's my platform. That's what I'm sticking with. Just fuck the hell out of each other, and the world will be all right. I don't know. It's just an interesting story that we can be almost wiped out and come back. It's almost like it's almost reassuring that even if we destroy ourselves, we can get down to 1,280 people. We can come back like the Mets in the 9th inning, only to fail again. Anyway, that's it. G.D. Fenderson. G.D. Fenderson. I like the way he says that on the opening of the show. Is with us. Let's bring him in and say hello. Good morning, G.D. Fenderson.
Hey, how's it going?
All right. That's a low energy good morning.
Oh no, because I'm also in the middle of constructing a poem. I have to write a
Oh,
birthday poem and get it in the mail.
oh,
Not for you. This isn't your birthday poem. This is actually for
that's good.
this is this is for an in-law.
How you doing? What's new? Anything new?
What's new? FYI, I sent you the wrong file. It is a video file, and I resent it.
Ah, let me see if I can get it while we say hello. Yeah,
Yeah, so I figured you probably had like a commercial break, and during a commercial break, you would like go to the file and.
I could do that. I don't, I'll be
Well, you're a
honest.
professional. Who am I? You do you.
I
I'm
am
just.
not. I'm not doing me. I am not even here. Uh, oh, tell me I need access again. I
Okay, then
you got to
send me
do.
a thing, and
I
I'll.
I did. I sent a request link. Um, did you? Really wanted to talk to you about this. Did you happen to catch my evening program this week?
I did not. I was super busy editing.
All right, that's fine. I mean, the program. A guy named Michelin Daniels. He has written a book called "I'm Not Your Black America."
Okay.
I'm not your black, comma America, and he is a very outspoken Army vet, Trumper, conservative black man. And I think you should watch it at some point when you get a chance. And I would love to hear your perspective on his views. Now uh, uh, he enlightened me on something that I'm really surprised by. But he said what made him a Trumper was when Donald Trump in 2016 said to the black people in the audience, "What have you got to lose? You've been voting Democrat all these years. And your life is not getting better. What have you got to lose?" And that resonated with him. And to me, I didn't hear that as making any sense. What have you got to lose? You have a lot to lose. Things could get if you. We have a fossil record of what you have to lose. We have a
Yes.
historical record of what you have to lose. You could go back to being in chains. I mean, that's the way I heard it. Like, what have you got to lose? Are you kidding me? You have no reference of our history to say what have you had to lose under a whole administration. I understand how they could feel like he could feel like the Democratic Party has failed them or hasn't done enough. But to say, what have you got to lose? It can't be couldn't be worse. That, to me, it just didn't ring true. But maybe that highlights how out of touch I am with the black experience because I didn't hear it that way, but he clearly did. And I think I wanted to get your perspective on that. I know just hearing me say it secondhand probably doesn't give you enough to kind of respond to it. But.
No, I have lived that response. I mean that. Okay, and some of you can forgive my language, but this is the way it was back in the day. Back when there was slavery, there were those blacks who were actually pro-slavery. They were, quote, the house niggers. Okay, there's no accounting for the abundance of ignorance that's out there. The people who it's like was not Munchausen syndrome, Stockholm syndrome, when
Yeah.
you're taking hostage and you seek refuge in the hostage takers. That's this guy here. Or he's so insecure that in order to be special, he joins a club that wouldn't have him as a member.
Right, exactly. That and he pointed that out from the beginning. He said when he was a kid, his mother didn't let him go to black churches, and his neighborhood made him feel like he wasn't a real black man because he wasn't part of the black community. He didn't do things that black people in his community were doing. And he said he never felt like a black person. And I said, you know what? They do that to you on purpose. It's kind of like, and I brought up the slaves who were reluctant even after the emancipation, to
Yes.
leave. They wanted to stay in chains because it felt safer to them. You don't know what's out there. You know what's here. At least you're getting whipped, but at least you're getting 2 meals a day, maybe 1 meal a day, whatever you were getting.
Yeah.
And there was no guarantee that you were getting that if you left. Like
Right.
I got to learn to take care of myself now, and I have to build my own shelters and all that stuff. So it was fear that kept them in chains. But I said, it sounds like that's where you are with this. You know, uh, and he was talking all about personal responsibility. It's like, well, how how are you relating it to personal responsibility if you're putting all your hopes in Donald Trump emancipating or increasing your quality of life? It just didn't make any sense. But it was a fascinating conversation. I like the guy; he's a good guy. I just think a little confused. He's from Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
And but it is because in the political world now, in the punditry, people are saying uh, black people are supporting Donald Trump a lot more than they did in the last election, and a lot more people are coming to his side. That not GD, I'm sorry, Michonne's, Michonne Daniels, who was a Trumper, a black for Trump. It just I don't know. For me, it's mind baffling because obviously I've not walked in the skin. I don't know, but
Yeah.
for me, I would be running from that. I don't know.
There's the self-load. There's a self-loathing. I don't know how old he is. Uh,
He's almost my age, 62.
okay. That when we were, and the other thing that makes a difference, because I'm 63. When we were growing up, back in those days, the um, there were the Republicans, actually the Dixiecrats as well. Basically, conservatives had us divided up into like the good blacks and the bad blacks, and they were trying to turn us against ourselves. It's and I guess he wanted to be one of the good blacks, one of the good ones.
Right.
Like I said, there's a multitude of reasons for a black person to want to support Trump. They're all bad and they're all wrong. Okay, and I don't care if you say, "Well, I'm a very rich black man and I care about taxes." You know something? If having a little bit more money, and I mean a little bit more money, is more important than you than other people losing their rights to vote, losing their rights to reproduction, losing their rights to just have a decent existence without hatred, then there's something wrong with you. Okay, and your reasoning is flawed and wrong, and you're selfish. You know,
Mm.
and I will lose some more. My fan base is probably down to 3 people now.
Yeah, no. But now the premise of his book, "I'm Not Your Black America," with a comma, America. So he's talking to America, saying, "I'm not your black," which
Right.
is weird. But the premise is losing the labels of black, white, whatever. I've never and it sounds like white guilt, but it's not. I don't like being called white. I don't think I'm a white person. I know there are whiter people than me, Danes, Anglo-Saxons, and all that kind of stuff. I am a Mediterranean mud person. uh, but even though I have very white ancestors, and my grandfather was an Irishman who was extremely white, but I never was comfortable with the term white because my opinion has always been this, that even within Europe or within Africa or any of the continents, there might be a dominant race, but there are so many different cultures and different variations within that race, within a continent, that to lump everybody in as white who is in Europe or comes from Europe is very misleading because we're not all the same people. Italians and Greeks are not the same as Scandinavians and
Right.
Danish people in any way. And just like Kenyans and sub-Saharan are not the same as Egyptians, Africans. Egyptians don't even consider themselves Africans in a lot of ways. I've talked to it's just so weird. But those labels, I agree with them. Labels get in the way. But I also kept coming back to the idea that it's not possible. It's a utopian idea that we can't that we could drop labels, right? But
Right.
if there's an incident, you got to bear witness to something. The first question they're going to ask you is, what race was the guy or woman? What they look like? What was their race? That's the first. When you're going to come down to either saying black or white or Asian guy or whatever you're going to say. But at that point, you just lost that no labels thing. It's gone. I mean, so I don't think you can ever do that. What is your thought on that?
I really wish that there were no such thing as labels, just like I wish there was no such thing as unions or doctors or lawyers, because it means there's a reason that we have them.
Right.
We have lawyers because they're dishonest people. Some of them are lawyers. We have unions because companies will want the cheapest labor and will screw you over the best they can. So there's some things I wish did not exist, simply because the sheer need for them means there's something wrong. Same with race.
Yeah.
I really wish that those labels did not exist, but the reason they're used mainly is for power and economics. That's the main thrust behind it. It's greed, and it's just a few percentage of the people, a small percentage of the population that has this kind of power that keeps us fighting amongst ourselves. If most people, if you get them together and just let them talk over a few drinks, regardless of their background, they'll find something in common. And even their differences, they'll shout it out, they'll yell it out, and by the end of the night, they'll hug it out. Or they'll at least have some kind of respect, like, whoa, I didn't know, hey, I didn't know that my cousin was gay. I just thought he was just very friendly with all of his male friends. Yeah. My goodness, but I love my cousin. So I'm about to go on
but I really would like it if you could at some point watch that episode, because he wants to come back, and I think I would like to. I'm not like I'm pitching my black friend against my other black friend, and because you're in different corners. I just want to get both perspectives included in the conversation. And because coming from me, it definitely sounds like, well, you don't know the experience. You can't know the experience. Well, you really don't. So all of my thoughts and opinions are invalidated by my skin color, and I'm sure you can appreciate that.
Yeah, but it's still, there's also the human experience. There's a story that I tell once in a while, and for all of you people out there, if you've heard it, forgive me. I don't know how you have heard it, because most of you don't even know me. But oops, sorry. That's why I closed the door. That's why I had the door closed, and the cat opened the door. Excuse me. I'm going to close that door again.
Okay.
Talk among yourselves.
Yeah, talk among yourselves.
Sorry,
I got some good coffee. By the way, I'm going to be taking a.
I knew she had on a robe, so I wasn't too concerned.
I'm going to be taking while I have that second there, taking a short break from Koa Coffee, sponsoring the program, and testing out Mind Dog Coffee next week. We have our own product, and we're going to just test it out and see how it does. I love Koa Coffee. Still loyal to the brand. I think it's the best coffee in the world, but we need to stop paying the bills a little more, Obi. So we're going to test that out. Anyway, you're back.
I want to close that door again, because like I said, my cat opened it. I guess she wanted to be part of the show. But the story is, I was headlining, and I tell stories. For the most part, I'm a storyteller. And when I was done, at the end of the show, I was talking to people in the audience. And one lady said to me, a woman of whiteness and drunkenness, has said to me, I'm not sure that you represent the true Black experience. Now, my wife, who is another woman of whiteness, walked up to her. And the thing is, we've been together. My wife and I have been together for quite some time. So she has as much Black in her as I have white in me, because of She has a little bit more black in her, about 6.5 inches. But the thing is, our cultures have meshed a little. And so my wife walks up to the woman, "Excuse me?" Just, my husband doesn't represent the true black experience. I said, whoa, honey. I said, I hate to see this white on white crime. You stay over there. Let me deal with her, because the woman's obviously drunk. I was raised by a drunk. I speak fluent drunk, you know. So I went and I dealt with the woman, because she thought that my black experience wasn't the true black experience, which begs to differ. What does she think the true black experience is?
Right.
And
Yeah.
first of all, I never say that my black experience is the true black experience. My black experience is my experience. I just happen to have it in a brown skin.
I think I don't know what the numbers are, but there's probably say there are 60 million black people in America, and I don't know. That's probably wrong, but I would think you would get 60 million different black experiences from one
Actually, it's
person.
you would get 54,522,000. I did the math last night in preparation for this.
Well, you didn't do the math on the 15 or 16 inches, because that it suggests that you're folding it in half. Oh,
And it hurts. It
and
hurts.
yes. I have your piece loaded up. Let's check out critical joke theory. Are we ready? You think it's a good time?
Sure, sure.
Transitioning into critical joke theory. Come on, open up. Oh, it's slow. Oh, whoops! It looks like the video file doesn't have a video track. That's not right.
No, it's not right, because I was looking at it.
No, it's Firefox is sucking. Hold on. I think I can. I think I can fix this, ladies and gentlemen. I have to do a little. We'll keep talking while I'm fixing this. I'm gonna use the other computer to get it. It's a Firefox thing. I know it is.
Oh, okay.
Because I've happened to use Firefox on this computer because I don't know. Chrome was making me drop frames or get freeze up the other day. Everything, everything just sucks in my life.
Well, not everything. You're still good looking.
I am. I'm really incredibly good looking. I I'm getting ready for a weekend from hell, and I get really flustered when that happens. It's just like it's too much for me to think about. I have 8 gigs between early this afternoon and Monday afternoon, which is a lot. It's a lot of going back and forth. Connecting as it's going to take a minute. So,
It's good to be you having 8 gigs. I may have 8 gigs between now and December.
right. I know. And tonight, damn it. Tonight is a really big one because it's the last hurrah. It's what the fuck, man? Come on. I can't type either because this keyboard is too far away. What's going on? Remember this password and that keychain. Yes, not doing it. I don't know why I can't do this. Matt Knapp. Oh, that's me. That's me. Oh, I know why. Right? Fuck me. Fuck me. Yeah, I'm gonna. All right, we'll keep talking. I will get this.
Okay, the coffee that you're about to sell, is that the thing, like there's like a coffee company and they'll put your name on the bag and they give you so many pennies off of.
Basically, yes, but they do allow you to kind of pick your strains and brands and where you get the product from and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So I do have some control over it. It is Hawaiian coffee.
So you're not growing it in your yard in New York?
No.
Because I'm gonna tell you guys, if you've never had New York grown coffee,
I
boy,
I don't even know if they do that. Do we have?
Isn't that what Pete's coffee is? I'm just I'm just teasing. That's like Pete's coffee is like paint thinner. I'm sorry, for those of you, it's very strong coffee. It's very strong. I'm not a coffee drinker, but my wife, when she drinks strong coffee, I can feel it. in the air tonight.
What do you drink anything to wake up in the morning? Tea, anything?
I just wake up like this.
Wow.
I have a mixed marriage. I wake up like this, and my wife needs coffee. She's not a morning person.
Wow. Yeah, I need coffee. I generally don't talk to me until I get my coffee in me. And my wife insists on talking to me before I got my coffee, and it's just like it doesn't work. And I'm rude, and I end up being rude, and I don't want to be rude. Connect as. Here we go. I'm not Matt Nappo on this machine. That's right. I'm somebody else. Who am I?
Do you need to send a new permission then if you're not Matt Nappo?
Yeah, something like that. Yes. So anyway, yeah. So the gig tonight, the gig tonight is the last hurrah of summer, and it's in an amphitheater on the beach, and it's kind of a big deal. Fuck me. That's all I got to say. Just fuck me. I'm gonna go another way. I'm gonna go a whole other way. But yeah, so I have two today. I'm gonna be really tired from because I'm doing a lot of singing in the two in the afternoon, and then the one tonight where it's a major work. Like it's one of these things where and you've done music gigs, and
Yeah.
basically people you're there playing for 3.5 hours. It used to be a 4-hour gig, now it's 3.5 hours, but the gig itself is really a 14-hour gig with all the setup, breakdown, moving.
Oh yeah,
Even with roadies and stuff, it complicates things. So I'm going to be exhausted, and then I got to get up early tomorrow and get right back at it, gigging again, and double gigs tomorrow, and it's just crazy. I can't say no. I'm like a nymphomaniac when it comes to gig. When somebody offered me a gig, you offer me a gig, even if my calendar is completely booked up, I say yes, and then say, how am I going to make it work? Instead of just saying, I'm kind of booked up. There's no way I can do this. I say yes, and then figure out how I can do it, even though it's impossible. So that's where I am, and I'm going to be come Monday. I'm not doing the show Monday. I am not. No way doing the show Monday.
We'll just record this and replay this on Monday.
You can't. All right.
Yeah, just record this, replay this on Monday because it'll be fresh enough. The people who missed it can just see that.
It's over by where it was on the. Thank you. Oh my God. All right. I'm getting your file again. I'm doing this all over again. Here it is. Where is it? One more time. Just ought to do it. All right. This is going to take a minute for me to download it again over to this computer. I don't know why I'm having download anyway. It says I can't scan it for viruses. You didn't put a virus in there to ruin my life, did you?
Me? Oh no! Oh gosh, no. First of all, I'm not smart enough to do that, and second of all, I'd hate to ruin any kind of. I don't have that many friends and relationships in my life. I'd hate to ruin one over something as hateful as a virus. I think the people who create viruses really should be third in line to the death penalty.
There you go. I think we've got it now. Hold on. Let me just make sure I got the whole thing before I do this. Now,
it should be 7 minutes, 28 seconds long.
You are in Pennsylvania, right? Now,
Westminster, Maryland.
Oh, Maryland. I thought you were in Pennsylvania. You do a lot of gigs in Pennsylvania or something.
Yes,
right?
I do a lot of shows in PA.
So in Maryland, where you are, is the dominant cable company Spectrum?
No, the Xfinity has bought up almost everything that has a wire in the ground. Xfinity and Verizon, they've been duking it out for years now.
Wow.
Xfinity used to be Comcast.
Critical joke theory. Let's see if we can get it to. We got it.
Hi, I'm G.D. Finniston, certified forensic humorist at large, but I'm losing weight. Welcome to Critical Joke Theory, episode 20. Now with new joke technology. Let us begin with the recent rash of disasters that have hit our country. Paris Hilton offers aid in Maui after vacationing with family amid deadly fires. The time to suck the oxygen out of the room is before the fire spreads. California and Mexico experienced massive flooding, mudslides, and loss of power due to Hillary making landfall. Trump was heard to have said, "You should have let me lock her up." Hurricane Idalia hit the west coast of Florida. The damage that it causes will qualify it for a position in Governor DeSantis' cabinet. Hundreds of thousands of Floridians are without power. Now they know how women, minorities, and Democrats feel. I wish that I didn't have to say this, but whenever there is a disaster, there will be people trying to take advantage of people who only want to help other people. Please be careful to whom you give your money and report all scams to the proper authorities. The Trump federal election interference trial date is set for March 4th, 2024. The trial of the leader of the insurrection is set for Courageous Follower Day. For real. Trump sought to have his trial date pushed to April of 2026. Judge Chutkan will not say this, so I will. Vote rigger, please. There are 6 co-conspirators that remain unindicted at this time. Co-conspirator number 1, identified as Rudy Giuliani, who has gone from being called America's mayor to an American nightmare. Co-conspirator number 2, identified as John Eastman. Trump called Eastman a constitutional genius. He helped Trump shit on the country. So yeah, he was. Co-conspirator number 3, identified as Sidney Powell. Trump said that she's more like a co-conspirator 2.5, not his type. Co-conspirator number 4, identified as Jeffrey Clark. Jeffrey Clark used to manage oil spills and other disasters. Now he's creating disasters. Co-conspirator number 5. There is some debate as to the correct pronunciation of his name. He was born in Wisconsin. He's a cheese bro. Co-conspirator number 6 is theorized to be Boris Epstein. It makes sense that there would be at least one Russian involved in a plot that looks like a nesting doll. One lie inside of another lie, inside of another lie, inside of another lie. All of the co-conspirators were attorneys. Seeing how they all passed the bar, it is obvious that the bar needs to be raised. In the Florida indictment, it appears that employee number 4 is going to cooperate. Employee number 4 has been identified as Yoxil Tavares. The name Yoxil means freedom lover. Of course he's going to cooperate. Jim Jordan opens a probe into Fani Willis's investigation. He's trying to go through her briefs. He's confused. Wrestlers wear briefs. Willis, where's your ass down? Russian officials affirm that DNA proves that Wagner CEO Prigozhin was among the 10 dead people in the jet crash. Also on the plane was the woman who accidentally ate Putin's yogurt. It had his name on it. A woman who thought that Putin looked fat in his suit, and 3 squeegee kids. Nobody likes squeegee kids. The unofficial cause of the plane crash is hammer and sickle cell disease. Senator Mitch McConnell, shown here moving really fast or moving really slow, froze momentarily during a press conference. This happens during his Windows 98 updates. Clarence Thomas, seen here doing his Rochester impersonation, Mr. Benny, cut that out, has filed disclosure forms listing gifts that he has received from Harlan Crow. Thomas previously did not disclose the gifts because he thought that they were trades. The Nebraska women's volleyball team drew a record-breaking 92,003 fans to their game. 90,000 of the attendees were incels that were there for the Kleenex and sock giveaway. A gunman killed 3 black people in Jacksonville. It was determined to be racially motivated. I do not expect everyone to get along and love each other, but the killing is not necessary. However, if you are a racist and you feel that killing black people is the answer, call me. I've been to all of the meetings. I can give you a list. We know which black people we deem unnecessary. Win-win. You can start with the black Trump supporters. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp dismisses the GOP calls for a special session to impeach Fani Willis, which leads me to say, what? You talking about Willis? A judge rules that Rudy Giuliani is liable for defaming 2 Georgia election workers. Giuliani retorted, defaming? I made them famous. Nobody knew who they were before I lied about them. I'm G.D. Fenderson, certified forensic humorist, now with new joke technology. Thank you for watching Critical Joke Theory, episode 20. Be safe out there, and don't feed the crazies.
All right. All right. Wow, that was pretty good, man. I was thinking even before you did what you were talking about Willis thing. Why hasn't that been used already? I mean, people are slacking comedically. If we've known about Fani Willis for quite a while, and nobody has come up with the, hey, what you talking about, Willis? I mean, come on, that's a no-brainer. That should be like the comedy 101. Come on, get in there. You're the first. Congratulations for being the first to actually use the line comedically.
Well, the funny thing is, there are lines that I have, and I ask comedians about this a lot. Well, experienced comedians, not the low-level ones, but the ones that have been doing it longer than me. It's like, are there lines that you have like in waiting that you know will be like really great, but it has to have a good setup. You can't just, you can throw a line out there, and you watch a lot of young comedians like say, I got this really great punchline, and they contort as much as they can so they can get to this punchline. And it's a good punchline, but their setup is lacking or tortured. Right. And so you have this, it's usually an iconic phrase that you just say, oh, if only so-and-so would die, I have this great line to use there. I can't wait. I can't wait. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait for Keith Richards to die because I have this one line that would be, no.
You'd really be doing my act a solid if you just fucking die already.
Yes.
That's beautiful. But I think you disqualified yourself from being part of that next show with me, Sean Daniels, with that that list of. You said let's start with the Black Trump supporters.
I have a short 1-minute video on TikTok that's even a little bit more graphic, but it's a little bit funnier because there's a live audience there. It's hashtag Jacksonville killing on TikTok. And it's also on my YouTube channel under let me see, I have a playlist, and the playlist is called Documenting My Funny. Again, it's called Jacksonville Killing. It's like a minute, 13 seconds. It's just an excerpt of like a 20-minute set.
Wow. I'm going back to the chat room here. I don't get what we're talking about. First 2 spots in line. I don't know what that refers to. Anyway.
My list, maybe?
I don't know. Do you do that politically when you're in a comedy club or in a theater or wherever you're doing a show? Do you get that political? Because that could be divisive. I mean, I could see Dave, who was on LinkedIn, who is a Trump supporter, Dave Canyon, this Dave. I could see him getting pissed off. I think he left like 2 minutes into your piece. But
well, to be honest, it's harder. Like if you're watching it on YouTube, it's a little bit harder because there's not like a support system there for you,
Right.
and you're stuck there with your own thoughts, and you're looking at something that's. I mean, these are headlines, and these are pretty much you can check them out. Almost everything I say is true. My punchlines are a little different, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. I mean, like the Hurricane Hillary. All right, yeah, that was a hurricane. Yes, it was named Hillary, and Trump did want to lock Hillary up. The only thing I did was
Right.
mash the two together. Uh,
Well, it's times like these where you really appreciate the value of a president who could move storms with a Sharpie. Uh, I mean, when the hurricanes start happening, we could use a guy like that. Why can't Biden just pick up a fucking Sharpie and just like a dahlia?
because Biden is old school. He uses a pen and ink and quill. Okay, and
Well,
that and then yes, and the quill and ink does not have Sharpie technology. It cannot move a storm. The best it can do is sign like a Declaration of Independence. That's it.
yeah. So I appreciate it. A good job on that. It made me laugh. I'm just wondering, like in a real set, because we are in. Listen, I've said this 100 times. My parents were really conservative, but they brought me up, and they were listening to liberal comedians. They were open minded enough to be able to laugh across ideologies. If something was funny, it was funny, and it didn't matter if it was liberal or conservative.
Right.
I think we've lost that to a big degree, and where so I could see people who are on the other side of the fence not laughing at that at all and actually getting angry at it.
Well, actually, like I said, the excerpt of the Jacksonville killing it's a 20-minute set. It was a mixture of people in the audience because when I did the thing, I did the thing about Hurricane Hillary, and I did the thing about and Trump says, "You should have let me lock her up," and one woman yells out, "Was he wrong?" And so they were there, they were in the audience, but when I got to the Jacksonville killing thing, everybody laughed. As uncomfortable as it was, everybody laughed. Yeah, there's a lot of politics in what I do, and there's usually there's a mixed audience in my live performances. Part of it, again, is a support group because it's live, and also part of it is I'm told I'm personable on stage, not like this. I'm told that in real life I'm very personable, and so you want to trust me, and you want to believe, and the delivery is like, oh,
I, I'm
he
the
shouldn't have said
opposite.
that.
People say they actually like me, and you're likable. They use the word likable. You're actually likable on live streams, but in person, you're like a son of a bitch. Nobody likes you.
Oh, I've done shows where the I talk about gun safety. Well, I don't want to say gun control. I'm going to say gun responsibility. Or discussing gun issues, and
Yeah,
the host will say, don't talk about, don't bring up your gun thing. Don't do the gun thing. I said, oh, now I have to.
right.
But when I'm done, yes, all the Second Amendment people and the First Amendment, they all agree and they're all laughing, even if they don't, because it's not that I'm trying to teach. It's not like I'm trying to take them to school. I'm just trying to point out absurdities
Yeah. I
and
get it, man.
hypocrisy.
And the gun responsibility thing is something I have uh, latched onto too in a big way. I have a friend who is I mean, diehard, no compromise on the Second Amendment stuff. But when we were kids together, his father had a house full of guns, and he knows this to be true. That there was a time when I was alone in their house. I don't know how I was alone. They left or whatever, and I was there waiting. And I went and got one of his father's guns, and I shot it at a neighbor's light pole, and I hit the light pole, but I missed the light, and the bullet went through, and it made a little dimple on the other side of a steel pole. And at some point, the guy came back and just said, "Oh, this is weird. There's a bullet hole in my pole here." And he stuck a pencil in it and pointed right to the kid's window. And he said, and the father said, "Did one of you guys shoot the neighbor's pole?" And then they figured out, no, it was Napo. And they came to me, and I said, you know what your total gun rights, and I get it, and the Second Amendment, and I agree with you, but responsibility. You think your father was a responsible gun owner? Oh yeah, of course he was. I said, then how did 9-year-old me get a hold of his gun and be able to shoot the label? And he started laughing, and then he started thinking, yeah, that was irresponsible. And so there's a lot of that, like, yeah, you have a right to own a gun, but you can't leave it around for a kid with, mental problems to get a hold of a gun or take it to school or any of that kind of stuff.
A kid, an adult.
Yeah, an adult,
An
anybody.
adult. Yeah.
You're right.
There's like I said, I don't want to do any of my stand-up jokes per se on show. Unless I'm trying to think out, because that's why I do the 90-minute specials and record them so that people can look them up and go, oh, okay, got it. But yeah, I do get political on stage, but it's fun, and it's, like I said, it's poignant, ugly at times, and honest, but it's funny. So
All right. Well, yeah, that's the most important element of it. If you go into a comedy show, you want to laugh, and you're
yeah,
not
yeah,
there trying to piss people off. You're trying to make people laugh, and
right.
I think that gets lost though. People just, for we live in times where people, again, coming back to the difference between when I was growing up, even conservatives or liberal could laugh at people from the other side as long as they were bringing the funny, and now we are in an echo chamber where if you don't 100% agree with me on all these stuff, I can't listen to you, and you're going to make me angry, and I'm going to demonstrate, feel like I have to let you know that I didn't find what you said funny.
Yeah, and also I don't want to give the wrong impression. I do a 90-minute show and it's all politics. No, I
Right.
do a 90-minute show and it's funny, but
Right.
it's life, it's me, it's you, not you, Matt, because I didn't know you when I wrote those things. But I will feature you prominently in my next 2 specials. But I'm just kidding. But it's about me. It's about you plural, you in specific. And it's and it's about current events, and it's about past events, and it's about making people laugh and think and
Yeah.
laugh.
Well, good for you. I appreciate the attitude. It's good stuff. Um, yeah, so that's basically all I had for today. I wasn't planning on doing a show. I got forced into doing a show by Tony Walker, who runs Gov's podcast, promoting my show last night, and I said, I guess I'm not off tomorrow.
Can I answer something real quick? Address
Yeah.
something. You was talking about the science of they're saying that people didn't fuck for like 100,000 years or year.
Yeah.
I disagree with that theory. My theory, and hear me out, that people, we are like we don't all come from the same species, like in evolutionarily speaking, there are different hominids.
Right.
And my theory is that just like when you breed a horse and a zebra, sometimes you breed 2 species that are close enough that they can have sex, but their offspring doesn't always reproduce.
Right.
So it's possible that as hominids and cross-species hominids, we were fucking.
Too many people fucking Neanderthals.
Yeah, they were fucking, but their offspring couldn't reproduce.
Right.
So that's what it was. It's like, wait a minute, we can screw them, right? That's okay, right?
And it took 117,000 years for that to clear out of the system. People go back to fucking human on human fucking.
Right, because the ones that can't reproduce die out eventually, and the ones that can reproduce keep reproducing.
Interesting.
That's my theory. Of course, I didn't come up with that until you mentioned your theory. What you were saying.
Well, I don't really have a theory. But my theory was
the story.
Yeah. That's where racism probably came in, because human condition, it's built into us that we look for a scapegoat, we look for somebody to blame, and when people start dying off and races are starting to mix at that time, it's easy just to say, well, it's that guy, it's them, they look different, it must be their fault, it can't be our fault. Yeah. And when it gets down to 1,280 breeding people on the entire planet, that's pretty low. I mean, so I could see people starting to blame each other, and I think that's probably the roots of racism or division among people who look different.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, yeah, it's always, I mean, people that look different, there's always been, as far as I can tell, they're a little reprehends, a little, I don't want to say fear, but a little reprehension when it comes to different. But real racism, that started with real power
yeah,
and fights over real resources and control over resources. That's when the real racism comes. It's like, oh no, we're entitled. They're trying to take our resources and our power, and we want cheap labor. We need somebody to we need to be able to justify mistreating people. And
uh,
that's as old as, you know, predates the Bible.
right. We've gotten to the point now with that. We want cheap labor and we want to be able to mistreat people and all that stuff. I mean, because we in Staten Island, New York, there was an abandoned school. The mayor was giving migrant workers that abandoned school as shelter rather than keep them on the streets. And Staten Island is out there protesting, evict them all. Like once you get rid of these people, you realize you're going to be complaining about the price of produce and all that stuff because these are the people who are supplying you with affordable produce and vegetables and all that kind of stuff.
Right,
And then you're going to be complaining about where do all these fucking homeless people come from because you're evicting them from the school. Where do you think they're going to go?
right,
Where and what is your solution? Just to kill them all? Well, then you're going to be dealing with, you're going to be looking for somebody to mow your lawn or fix your house. Go get a migrant worker who will work cheap on projects that you give them. Now you're going to have to pay union prices for real carpenters, American carpenters, and plumbers and stuff like that. And you're going to be complaining about how everything is so expensive.
right.
We, you know, uh,
People have no idea how much the real cost of things are because they've had things subsidized for so long, like gas. That's been subsidized for since I can't even remember when we weren't subsidizing gas. Uh, Sugar. And that's, to me, that's the big one because that's like a health thing and that's driving up health costs because we subsidize sugar. It's much cheaper to eat unhealthy than it is to eat healthy. And if you eat
absolutely
healthy, chances are all the other stuff, medical costs, that all gets driven down
right.
because people are eating healthy. Diabetes out the window, hypertension out the window. Well, except for maybe the occasional case where it's just in your DNA.
Right, yeah. Like me. I was born a hothead. I was definitely born a hothead. Hypertense. My father, but he could have been the product of too much sugar too. Definitely alcoholism and that's sugar
Which is a
related.
sugar product.
Yes, it's the sugar product. You're right. Yeah, so all of that, but yeah, we don't think things through a lot. We don't think things through when with especially when it comes to hatred and demonizing these people. And when it was on Twitter and they were showing these people marching, Staten Island is definitely, if you know anything about the New York five boroughs, Staten Island is the most uh, really hateful borough there is. These people are entitled, and they're all immigrants. They're all like immigrants that look like me. They're all Italian American. For I would say it's probably 80% Italian Americans who forget. They talk about crime rates and all this stuff. And I will get crucified for saying, our people, the Italian people in who came to Ellis Island and then ended up in the southern part of Manhattan and then ended up in Staten Island and in Brooklyn. Those people gravitated towards crime because they were desperate. They were poor and they had no legitimate way to lift themselves up, so they went to criminal ways. But you can't forget that. So when you're saying these people they don't want to, they're bringing crime and stuff. Every every desperate group of people who have no other, you're gonna cut corners. It's just a human precondition that you want, if you're gonna try to provide for your family and there is no legitimate way that you can make it work, you're gonna look for illegitimate ways to make it work. You can't. It's not
Yeah,
about their race. It's not about where they come from. It's about where survival. It really is. And so if you want to make it, you want to reduce crime, make survival a little easier. That's
Yeah, I mean, I know my father served in World War II. My father and his grandfather. My father and my grandfather. Well, a lot of my kinfolk served, but my father served in World War II. And when he gets back, he comes back to a country where he's not allowed to vote. He can't get finding a job is like, it's like, wait a minute, you can't work here. So yeah, my father ran numbers. My father was a numbers runner. He was technically a
he
criminal.
works for my father.
Yeah, possibly. Actually, I know my father worked for a guy named One Arm Joe, who actually they should have been One and a Half Arm Joe, but I think people were just lazy with their nicknames. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was One and a Half Arm Joe, but it was One Arm Joe. My father used to work for him, and my father had a memory that he didn't have to write numbers down, so he didn't have to write like where other people had like a list. My father had all that stuff memorized because he had like a photographic memory. And so you have somebody with that kind of talent, and just because he's black, he's a numbers runner, as
Right.
opposed to doing something else out there in society with that kind of a mind.
Right. He could have been an odds maker.
Yes, he could have been a bookie. He could have been a bookie.
Yeah.
Instead of a numbers runner.
Anyway, Willie's explaining his comment about the second in line. He said in your piece, you said before the piece, you said virus senders should be third in line for execution, and he's wondering who the first two people.
Well, the first in line and this is kind of like a broad title, but I'll break it down. People who hurt people for greed. Okay. Yeah. So what I'm talking about like the people who were scamming elderly out of their money. They're calling them and saying, "Excuse me, there's a mistake in your account. If you just give me your social security number, I'll fix." Okay. And they're like, "Oh, sure, honey, here's my social security number." And then they wipe them out. Those people, an elderly person doesn't have a lot of time to recoup the money they've just been locked out. That's it. So right. Yeah, those people who alter lives forever, like rapists, you've altered the life of another person for no other reason than power. Okay, that's it. And so you've altered a life. You cannot return that life. You cannot restore that life. So death row, you have scammed. You're harming elderly people. You're scamming people. You're rapists. Those people should be first. They have forever altered the course of another human being's life for no damn good reason. So those are number one. Number two, and this is actually from my wife's list, not mine, but because we're married, I've accepted it. People who harm animals. Okay? People who harm animals, especially people who raise animals to harm animals.
Oh.
Okay? And I'm going to say Michael Vick, even though he's not here to defend himself, but just as an example, because he was like known. But people who raise animals just so they could torture them. Yeah, that's number two. So the virus people are number three. And your list may vary. I mean, I'm not king yet. And once you make me king, if you vote for me and make me king, I can make my list permanent. But right now it's just a suggestion.
Yeah, I honestly I think death penalty is too kind. I think it's the easy way out. I mean, because at death, all the suffering ends. So I think, and I don't want to be the one paying for keep people alive in prisons and all that stuff, but I definitely think there is a better solution, a more equitable, a more justice-based solution than death.
Well, my suggestion, my thing about the death penalty is I want it as a negotiation block. So, for example, if you're somebody who's scammed a bunch of people out of millions and millions and millions of dollars, okay, the first thing is, okay, death penalty. That's it. Now, if you want to get off of death row, you have to start restoring that money to those people, making their lives right. So if you can let's say, if you can make half of their lives right, if you can restore half of the money to all those people you just ripped off, you get off of death row, but you get, life plus 20 or something. Okay. Yeah. And then you go like, now, if you can restore 90%, you can get 10 years. Now, if you restore 100%, if you restore every penny that you have, ripped off from people, and you get back every single penny, and you made them all whole, you're still going to do some time, 2 or 3 years, but the next person who thinks about ripping somebody off is going to say, whoa, I remember so and so. He had the death penalty and he didn't get off. He still did time once he restored everybody's money. So I think of it as a negotiating block. I honestly don't want to kill them. I'm just willing to kill them if
Right.
it'll help make people whole.
Yeah, like, but with Michael Vick, what I would do is I would cover him in gravy and put him in a pen full of pit bulls and every day. Well, you're gonna
Yes,
get covered in gravy and locked in a cage with angry pit bulls, and that's
yes.
every day.
Or cover him with cocaine and put him in a cage with addicts. This is cover. I'm just saying, put crack rocks in his butt and put him in a room with a bunch of crack addicts and give them spoons. I'm just saying that there are ways to punish people without killing them. They just
Yeah.
wish they were dead.
Yes. Have you seen any of the telemarketers? It's a series on HBO Max, but it is available online. And I did send some people links to that. But have you caught any of that telemarketers?
I haven't watched it yet. My wife and I are in negotiations because we both have this disdain for the idea of the telemarketer,
Yeah.
but and not the idea that, well, I don't mind people making a living, but
Well,
we haven't decided to watch it together
these
yet.
aren't legit telemarketers, like selling a legit product, or like they're not calling to say sell your solar panels. These are
Right,
people claiming to be the police or fire department and
right.
intimidating you into giving to a fundraiser, and it's not real. It's all a scam. And they what they do is once you give, and they're targeting older people, like, and this is what made me think of it. They're targeting the elderly, get them to give $15 once. They get on a list, and now a month from now they're going to get called again and say, you gave 15, can you give more this time? And they just do this over and over again until they're bleeding these people, old people, dry. There was one lady who was saying she went into like $40,000 debt. She kept taking out loans to give to this foundation, and it's been going on for 40 years or more. I've gotten those calls where the guy comes on, this is Sergeant blah 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 from the, and it's like really intimidating. And when you say no, they get really nasty with you and like,
Yes, yes, yeah.
like
I've,
fuck.
I've had those calls, and sometimes when they get really annoying, I will play the race card. I was say, excuse me, I'm a 60-year-old black man, and you gonna threaten me over the phone? I said,
Yeah.
wait till I'm driving down the street to threaten me.
Now, you say play the race card, and you kind of reminded me of something. I was trying to explain to somebody your parody on Paint It Black, and I couldn't remember the line. What's the line? I see a red car and the driver looks black.
Oh,
What?
I see a red car, and I think the
I
driver's
think the
black.
driver's black.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's a police officer singing the song.
Yeah, I couldn't make it work. I was like, I'm missing a word here because I'm missing meter here because I can't
Yeah,
get.
yeah.
I think the driver.
Check it out. Just it's on, like I said, it's on YouTube. On my YouTube page, it's on under song parodies on my playlist. I have a website. If it's okay, www.sogdfunny.com, and you go on the menu, and there's like a thing that says YouTube videos. Once you click on that, there's like 12 categories of playlists because I'm a very prolific person and I try to make things easy. So I have a group called Song Parodies. Go into Song Parodies, and you'll find Painted Black. That is my favorite parody that I do. It's one of my favorites. My other favorite is "What in the World," which is a song parody of "We Are the World," but it's sung by January 6th indicted or arrested people. So like the Swami, the shaman, that's like yes, but it's called "What in the World." What in the world do we believe in? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that's my second. Well, so they're all my babies. They're all my children.
Good one. Now, I had a Wednesday lady who was doing a lot of song parody stuff at Sticks and Stones on Saturday night. Diane Forrest. She's 89 years old. She's doing 2 shows, 2 hour shows, stand up. And I said to her, like, I'm going to be performing today, I'm going to be performing for people at a nursing home, and almost every one of them will be younger than her. There might be a few that are just her age, but most of them will be younger than her, 75 to 89, somewhere in that range. And none of them will be able to stand up for more than a minute without help. She's going to stand up for 2 hours. Good for her. I mean, that's incredible to be able to still be doing it at 89 years old. And when she was on, there was no hint of her not being completely vibrant, young.
Yeah.
Her mind is sharp, as more sharp than mine. Everything.
I hope. Well, first of all, I hope that I'm not doing comedy in my 80s and 90s. I'm hoping that I'm just like running, like just being recognized in the neighborhood for being a comedian. Very funny,
Right. Yeah.
That would be good enough for me. It's like, hey, that's GD Fenderson, and then I'll go, who? That would be good enough for me. I don't want to be still performing at that age. I just want people to go like, I love your third DVD, your fourth DVD, your fifth DVD. I that would be great for me. I don't want to be still
I don't have
performing.
any expectation of being alive even into my 70s. I really don't. Not that I'm not feeling. I mean, I have some health issues, not big time, but my father died at 54. Every male on that side of the family, and my father was one of 17 children, 14 boys among the children. They all died at 54 years old. My grandfather on that side died at 54 years old. My brother and I both thought we had your number, and 54 is your number. So I've passed that by 10 years now, which is a surprise. I'm living on borrowed time. But I can't imagine me being 89. I just can't. But I could never.
But nobody imagined that you would reach 64 either. I
No,
mean, the odds, I mean, the bookies in Vegas had you kicking the bucket at 26. I'm just
yeah,
saying.
yes.
Vegas didn't even have you making it to 27 like Hendrix and the other 27ers.
Yeah,
No.
all my friends who expected me to be we talked about this on your show. My friends all expected me to be the first one to go. Now they're all dead, and I'm still here. That's accident, coincidence, whatever, however, destiny. I don't know what that is, but the lifestyle I have led does not actually work towards living a long life. I know I've done, back when I was using drugs a lot in my teens and stuff, it was different. It wasn't heroin. There was no fentanyl. There was no crystal meth. I mean, nobody had crystal meth. It was invented, but nobody did that. It was pills. It was stealing grandma's Tuinals and Benadryls and stuff like that. But lots of
Valium.
pill abuse. But still, I mean, I could have died on alcohol poisoning at least 3 times. I know at one point I should have been hospitalized, but they didn't want to take me to a hospital. But I was in a coma for 3 days on alcohol poisoning. That shit does not lend to, in your later years, you will start to feel the residual damage from it. So,
And you're not even including the opportunities to die just from stupidity. You didn't even include those.
yeah. I mean, one time I jumped out of a speeding car. I mean, going like 50 miles an hour. I jumped out of a car. I was on LSD at the time, but I just prompted to just jump out of a car, moving down the highway. Like, what the hell was that all about? In the same army jacket that it was in car wash. I think that ruined the jacket, by the way. Yeah.
Which is
So,
probably why you're at the car wash to get it cleaned. No,
yeah.
I don't know when.
No, the car wash thing was a really strange time in my life. We went out to California for a couple of months. In those couple of months, they were filming the movie across the street. But my goal there was to get on the Gong Show, and
Oh, okay.
we went out there to get on the Gong Show. We were the only 2 white guys in the neighborhood. We were living in East LA in a welfare hotel, and this black guy Roderick took me under his wing. And he was an older guy, and he was the only guy who could score us pot. We didn't know where to get pot from, so we befriended him big time. But he had me doing things, committing crimes without me even being aware I was committing crimes. He would say, "I got my television is down in my car, and I can't. My back is hurting too bad. I wonder if you could bring it up for me. Go down to the street and open up a door and grab the television." I'm walking through the lobby with this giant television. It wasn't his car. It wasn't his TV. Things like that. And I was doing that all the time until I finally figured out Roderick is kind of just using me. But they used to call us Simon and Garfunkel. We were only two white guys, and I'd be carrying a guitar around. We're going to get on the Gong Show, and we were online for the Gong Show, and an earthquake came. We were about to go in for the audition, and the earthquake came, and it canceled the shooting for the auditions and shooting for that day. So that was all a wasted trip, and then back to Florida.
I'm sure that being in a black neighborhood, they didn't call you Simon and Garfunkel. They called you Simon and Garfunkel.
Maybe.
I'm sure that's what it said. Hey,
Maybe.
Funkel.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So, but I also did try to get on a car wash desperately, just trying to get caught on camera somewhere, and then ended up in the movie. I will get the time code so people can actually see. I don't know, but chances are now I'm probably going to be in a real movie because I begged my way in yesterday. So that's cool.
Well, I'm trying to get into Tommy Chong's next movie. I'm not saying trying. He told me that when they shoot it, if I make it to the set, he'll put me in a scene.
Oh, it's James Balsamo is directing that. I think he's a friend, and he's been on the program. Tommy will be with me a week from today.
Right.
I think Cheech was going to be with him. I think so. I think I'll have Cheech and Chong on for the first time together. That will be interesting. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm not promising that, but that's what I'm under the impression that that's going to happen. Tommy will definitely be here. Cheech is a difficult one, but we were talking.
Tommy said that Cheech wants to do almost anything. He just needs to be talked into it. He says no to everything at first.
Right. Yes.
So that's my impression. Not that Tommy and I are best friends or anything. It's just that I had an opportunity to interview him,
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah. So James, though, who was the director of that movie, is a friend. And I think anybody can get in one of his movies. I mean, he's a guy who says yes to just about everything. James' thing is he likes titties and beer and horror and blood and gore. That's what he likes. And Tommy's been in a couple of his movies, but.
Well, I think that at my age, pretty soon I will have titties. Pretty soon. And as far as blood goes, just wait for the next stool sample. We'll see.
Yes.
So give him my number.
No, I will definitely
give him tits and blood.
I didn't even think about that but James's thing, his movies don't go to theaters. They go directly to Walmart where he does well with them, but he basically uses Walmart as his distributorship for all his movies.
I don't shop at Walmart, but I'm sure I could go get it offline or something. Yeah. So give him my number, and I will make the trip to LA because I haven't done a show in California yet. So it'll be, I'm sorry, I can't say that on the air. My wife will make sure I get out to California somehow. Well, I'm sure my cat has like 2 good kidneys right now. We can sell one.
I'm impressed. I'm totally impressed that you actually stopped yourself from not saying something on the air because I am incapable of doing that. People always say, "Are you sure you want to say it? It's too late now?"
Oh no, I have. I am worried that my filter will not last much longer because I watched my mom. My mom, who God bless her, she was the most liberal person that I knew, and she was also the first person I watched grow old. If that makes sense, my mother was in her 20s when I was born, and she, so 20s is young and vibrant, and she was in her 80s when she died. So she was the first person I watched grow old and die, and she was so liberal and progressive when we were growing up, and by the time she was in her 80s. Her filter started to slip, and she would just say things like, "Lord have mercy, he says he's black, but you don't like macaroni and cheese." I'm like, what the? And that's a direct quote from my mother. That's not me making something up for comedic purposes. No, that is a direct quote.
No, this is something that happens a lot. All my really, really conservative white friends were hippies in the 60s, and now they are the opposite. They are everything they used to. They hate everything they used to be. The John Lennon idolizers, those people who sang Imagine and all that kind of stuff, hate that progressive or liberal or any of whatever kind of label you want to put on that. They hate it. They become their grandfathers. It's just weird. Age will do that to you. It's not necessarily you can as a young person you can be as progressive as you want, but I guarantee the older you get, more of you know Archie Bunker will work its way into your bloodstream.
My theory is that you get to choose what kind of an old person you want to be, by what memories you hold on to, what memories you let go of. You
There's a
know,
song in there somewhere, dude. That's poetic. It's poetic, but it's not so poetic that it makes you want to kind of stick a dildo up your ass. You know, but yeah.
But if you do stick one up there, make sure it's toxic free.
Yes, non-toxic dildos from enticeme.com. That's what you. But yeah,
Let's sell some product if we can.
I don't know if you're gonna be pissed at me if I end up using that, but that's a
No,
profound
I've
thing.
already got it. I've already got it recorded on one of my DVDs. So,
Okay.
and I don't, and I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, you stole my material. No, it's like it's an homage. It's an homage,
Yeah,
and you'll make it yours anyway.
I do a lot of homaging.
I've never stolen a joke in my life, but have I
No,
homaged a few? Yes.
yeah, I don't, and musically, I don't steal things either. I mean, I borrow ideas and kind of do make them mine, but there is a danger, like the Black Eyed Peas song. I've been accused of stealing that song, even though my song that sounds like that came out way before theirs did. I have a song that says, uh, "Tonight's gonna," no, that's their song. "Tonight's gonna be a good night." Maybe tonight is my song. Maybe tonight we're gonna have a good time, baby. But it's a very the chord structure is similar to theirs. But when theirs came out, and then people started finding mine, they said, "Well, you ripped this out from Black Eyed Peas." I was like, "No." If you look at the copyright dates and the published date, mine came out like 3 or 4 years before theirs. And I'm not saying they stole from me. I'm just
Right.
saying it's just kind of coincidental. You're on a premise and that kind of stuff and things. And in pop music, really, we're stuck with very limited progressions usually.
I was
Anyway.
about to say that's I was about to ask you that because I have a book about chord progression somewhere in here, written by a guy named Bruce Castile, who was my guitar instructor back in the 70s. And he wrote a list of common chord progressions used in popular music.
Yeah.
Not a book, but it's just like one chapter because he was teaching jazz improvisation. And so there was all these chord progressions used in popular music. And when I used to play in a band, I wrote lyrics first. I wrote poems, and then I took the poems and turned them into songs. And then I would look for music, and I would go and I said, okay, I need a chord progression. And I would go through the list of chord progressions and go like, nope, that's not good. I like that. Okay. And then I was okay. So I would take the chord progression and it would go so far to say, and use this for the bridge, so you got these chord progressions. So then it's just a matter of the rhythm,
Right.
and most people, when they're writing songs, their chord progression, their rhythm is like chunka, 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 chunka,
Yeah.
chunka, chunka, it's the same.
Yeah.
Because, what I do, and I can tell people this now, because I probably won't record another musical CD again. I have one song left in me, but I'm not good enough mechanically to perform it yet. But what I do is, when I record the guitar parts, in my case, whenever I record the rhythm parts, either piano or the guitar, the chords, it's always chunka, 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 chunka. And then I will write a second chord rhythm to go with that. And then I will record a third, but I will delete the first one, the original one that went chunka, chunka, chunka,
Yeah.
chunka, chunka, chunka. and I'll replace that with something else so that rhythm is there. But now
Right.
the chord progression looks nothing like, I'm not progression, but the chord rhythm looks nothing like it,
Right.
because now I've got a third generation chord, you know, a second and third generation chord rhythm.
Right.
But
Cool.
that's how I do it, and that's
Yeah.
why most of my stuff does not sound like it's like, okay, that could pass for music.
Yeah. Speaking of music, William Conway's got a song, "Get Up, Getting Down," and we have sent quite a few people to the link, but people were complaining to me, William, if you're still in the chat room there, people were complaining to me. They don't complain to you; they complain to me that the comments weren't open. They want to, and it does definitely help your presence on YouTube in the algorithm if there are comments happening. So they're saying, tell William to open up the comments on that. So.
I talked to William this morning, and William said that the comments are working. You just have to yell them at your screen. Just yell them at the screen, and he'll get them. So those of you who are trying to type them in, no, it's kind of like Star Trek. It's like, computer,
It's
tell William, nice chord progression, love your lyrics.
kind
So
of like my grandmother watching the news,
yeah.
yelling
So I
at the
did talk to
TV.
William. I did talk to William, and he had fixed it a while ago. So
Oh,
yeah. So your audience, they just missed it. That's all.
I'm surprised you know William.
Oh yeah, yeah. We
Your
go
friend
way
of his?
back.
Yes, good.
Oh yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah.
Anyway,
What's his name again? William what?
Conway.
Yeah. Tim
Conway.
Conway's brother, right? Tim Conway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
We go
yeah.
way
He's
back.
Kellyanne Conway's.
Oh yeah, yeah. Of the Colombian Conways. Yes.
Anyway, I guess that's a show for today, man. I don't know. I wasn't planning on doing a show. I had some laughs. I'm glad I did the show. I'm glad to see you. Good to see you here. I definitely, if you can, at some point, yeah, no pressure here, but check out that Mishore Daniels.
What episode number is it?
It's not a Coffee with the Dog. It's an evening show, so it's just called "I'm Not Your Black America" with Mishore Daniels. It's a Meet the Author thing on Wednesday nights.
Okay, I'll listen to it a little bit later today.
Yeah,
don't give me, because
don't get too angry. And I was really I didn't give him much pushback at all, except when he was saying, black people have always been Democrats. It's like, not in my neighborhood, but I'm a northern boy, and on Long Island we had lots of black Republicans here. I understand that the Democratic Party, vote-wise, gets a lot more of the black vote nationwide, but not to say that there were never any black Republicans. And that's the only thing
to me that shows his ignorance, because when we were growing up, the motto was the official black political motto was, register as a Republican out of homage to Eisenhower and Lincoln, but vote
right.
Democrat out of homage to Kennedy.
Wow.
Okay, that was the thing.
No, yeah, I that definitely rings true to me, and I think that was definitely the case here as well. Is there were a lot of Eisenhower registered black guys who were fans of the civil rights movement, and so yeah, there was all that. But then there was also the Democratic Party that at that point, later on in the 60s, that was Lyndon Baines Johnson, who was not exactly a civil rights guy.
Right.
And George Wallace, who was definitely anything but a civil rights guy. So, yeah.
Yeah, people confuse parties with agendas. Okay, and they need to stop thinking, I'm telling people, but here's the idea. It would help people to understand that there were groups that had agendas, and it doesn't matter what party you were. If you were a progressive, it didn't matter if you were a Republican and then became eventually a Democrat because the party shifted. It's the agendas that are important, what you want to accomplish. Okay, that's the important thing. And so people cling to party, says, well, my daddy's always been a Republican. Well, yeah, he was probably an Eisenhower Republican.
Right, yeah.
And then the party moved, and now Trump Republicans don't look anything like Eisenhower Republicans.
Oh, nothing. Absolutely nothing. There is no common ground between Eisenhower Republicans and Trump Republicans. It's like that party is completely transformed itself. Anyway, that's the show for today. I thank you for being here. You're welcome back anytime. Next Friday, Tommy Chong, definitely. Hopefully, Cheech will be with them. I don't know if you're planning on making this critical joke thing
if you would like it weekly or bi-weekly, you let me know how often you want it. And
yeah, I mean, as often as you want to do it. That's what I tell people. People have been making their own schedules up, so I'm
okay,
cool with
usually
that.
I do it like every other week, and that's only because I have like other shows that
That's fine. That's fine.
so that's cool.
By the way, I'm looking for a sports guy to do sports 5 minutes a day, once a week. It will be a paid position. If you know anybody who has a real good feel, I'm telling this to the general audience out there, even on the radio side, anybody who's got a real comprehensive knowledge of sports, who can make it a little bit funny, a little bit lighthearted, but sports report 5 minutes a day. I don't know what the pay is going to be yet, but it's negotiable, and I definitely want to add that to the program, and maybe some other kind of short positions like that, where people are actually doing, prepared daily reports, knowledgeable reports, and then we'll figure out what it's worth. Not going to be big money.
And they have to be responsible,
yes.
reliable, not like, I'll do this every day, except
Right.
for
I can't
Monday
tell you
and
when I
Wednesday.
first put out for contributors how many people said they were going to do it, and then never could even get one piece together.
Yeah, people don't realize how some things, like I said, that's part of the reason why I don't work with as many comedians as people would want me to, I guess, because they're really not responsible people.
Right. Yeah.
They're very selfish.
Yeah.
As a species.
And late.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I'm the only Black comedian who doesn't acknowledge CPT. It's a known fact. It's a known fact. You can look it up. It's in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Wow.
No.
That's tough to get into. Believe me, I know. I've dealt with the Guinness people. They wanted to charge me $20,000, more than $20,000. The price kept going up. When we did the Podathon, we did a 40-hour podcast for a fundraiser for a friend who had cancer, and I contacted Guinness Book of World Records. It was originally $5,000. By the time the show ended, it was like over 20. They wanted $22,000 or something.
I'm sorry. I meant Guinness Beer Book. I'm sorry. Did I say beer? I left out the word beer. No.
So you just need a 6-pack. You need to purchase one 6-pack, and you're in.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for being here. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.
All right, thanks, man. Take care.
G.D. Fenderson, folks. Good stuff. Wow. I laughed. I had a good morning. I hope you did too. I hope you enjoyed the program. What did I want to mention? We do have coffee coming up next week. Mind Dog Coffee. We'll be rolling that out. Merch. Got plenty of cool merch if you're interested in that. And it's a great way to support the program. And I am taking off Monday. I'm taking off Monday, but we do have some really funny people lined up for next week. We have we're getting more and more film directors, film producers, film people on, which is a good thing, diversifying a little bit, cool stuff. Anyway, that's the show for you today. I have to get ready for gigs. I have lots and lots of work, including equipment packups and stuff like that. So I need to run. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you next week. Anybody needs to contact me, you know how to contact me. You know where to contact me. You know where to find me. And I appreciate you all. Have a great day, and don't forget to turn on your radio. Bye for now.
I to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now.